Founded in 1925, Holy Name Hospital is a comprehensive acute care medical center located in metropolitan northern New Jersey. Each year, Holy Name serves a total of nearly 90,000 patients with state-of-the-art diagnostic, treatment, and health management services.
Unique elements of Holy Name is the ability to really combine high-end, high-tech information systems and medical imaging systems with compassionate patient care.
Over the years, the hospital's communications system had become extremely complex, with circuits and services from numerous providers.
Yeah, the building's been here for about 80 years, and during that time, we've had to keep increasing the service level of communications. So each time we did so, another line would come in from a different carrier over and over again, and over time we ended up with just a big conglomeration of lines that were hard to identify, hard to tell who the real providers were.
Adding to the complexity, in recent years the demands on the hospital's communications system had increased tremendously, in large part due to much greater bandwidth needs.
The radiology department is probably one of the most demanding customers of the IT department in the hospital because everything, all of our images are digitized. Every time we sit down to work, we're in front of a computer. So our environment is all computerized. We have to worry about transfer of images from our scanners, from our CAT scanners, our nuclear scanners, a PET scanner, into our reading computers, and then also the distribution of that information out not only to the referring physicians, but also the ability to be able to access that data, access those images from our homes. Patients want to know immediately what their diagnoses are, or let's take, for instance, patients coming into the emergency room. Someone coming in with a critical or emergent situation needs to have that diagnosis made as rapidly as possible. So as we go into more sophisticated multi-image studies, the ability to access that data, look at that data quickly, and give a rapid response to the emergency room or to possibly a patient within the hospital is critical. So the faster we do our job, the better it is for the patient ultimately, because then the answers are received and are there for the next step to be taken.
The 3 megabit internet connection the hospital previously had was nowhere near adequate to support those kinds of demands. As head of information technology, Mike led the effort to streamline the hospital's array of communications services and supply the added bandwidth required by the medical staff. What he found in Optimum Lightpath's bundled internet voice service was a flexible solution that met multiple needs.
Part of the pipe is carved out for voice, and the remaining 90 meg or so is really used for data. So going from a 3 meg pipe to a 90 is just a significant increase.
So it gives you the flexibility to take that pipe and separate it or allocate it for the different functionalities without having different services come in, different pipes, different circuits coming in for the different services. You now have really one bundled, one big pipe of service, 100 meg, that you can now use for all of these different functionalities that are required.
Reliability of communications services had been an issue for Holy Name in the past. So another benefit the hospital was looking for was the increased reliability and redundancy associated with Optimum Lightpath's carrier-class Ethernet services.
We were not using Ethernet for our voice services before. We experienced a lot of downtime with our circuits. As a result, I think that one of the reasons that we chose to go to Ethernet-based services was for the reliability, for the security, and for the service levels.
Any concern the hospital IT or telecom staff may have had about switching over to the new service was alleviated during the planning and installation process.
The installation was very well run. Once we signed the contract, Optimum Lightpath sent in an engineer who walked the property with us. We looked at all the entrances to the building. We walked out to the telephone poles, and he basically told us how he was going to get the fiber from the poles into the building. It was really amazing how well that it worked. I was expecting more issues getting that fiber from the street into the building, because I know how complicated all the paths are here. But within a few days, they had it coming from the street right into our data center.
With the new service in place, the IT department was able to deliver what the hospital's head of radiology referred to as an early Christmas present to her staff.
The radiology department here had a big need to do a lot of off-site reading of patient radiology exams, and the 3 meg pipe was just causing them havoc. You know, the radiologist would be at home trying to load these images and just couldn't get them loaded. You know, it was just too slow. It would take just too long to get the images loaded in the homes. So when we switched them over to the Optimum Light Path pipe, it made a big difference for them. Huge, huge.
The doctor's response?
It's like a miracle. I mean, it really is quite marvelous. I love it. I can't say enough about how happy we are to be able to be doing our work with this type of structure. And again, speed is for us is so critical, and you know, speed is life. Speed is life, and for many, it's life for us, for my radiologists, as far as their lifestyle, but life for the patient, because we can then make diagnoses much more quickly to affect the ultimate care, particularly if it's emergency care that's being provided.
And what about the reliability and value?
Because of the type of service it is, we are able to, I think, have a more reliable, safer, and 100% up and running network than we ever had before. So from a service standpoint, I think it is one of the probably highest levels of service that you can install, that you can have.